I'd like to give out a big thanks to the terrain tutor for his tutorials he's done. I picked up a lot of tips from him, and I shall be linking his YouTube page in the comments below. So I will get the product that I'll be using out and display it. So what I've got here right now is currently this product that I've been using from Woodland Scenics. I find it's probably the cheapest for the hobby shop that I'm at, and one of the only selections they actually have too. They have a few products other than this, but I find this for the dollar, and quality is the best bang. So, and for those who are not looking to spend a lot of money on this material, once again, if you check out the Terrain Tutor's site on YouTube, he actually goes over how to make your own clump foliage, and it's quite easy. I've actually done that, and I'll show you a quick example. This here is part of the board I'm currently working on. I was using my other video to show some examples of how to do rock faces out of the polyurethane. If I go up here and take a bit of a turn around, you will see the three different colors of foliage that I've used. This is actually a mix of the stuff I was just showing, and the orange and darker green is the foliage I made myself via the Terrain Tutor's tutorial. This was originally one of the first villages I was working on, and did not do it to scale at all. Actually, it was the first piece I've ever done, and I decided to use it as a wargaming board since it was better for a 1:176 miniature scale than it was for the larger villages that you're seeing currently going in the last video that I did and the current project I'm working on. But for the ballast, as you can see right here in the corner, once again a Woodland Scenics product, I basically used that for the road, and I have out now some other dirt I was using to lightly put it on and over to give it more of an aged look. You can see the foliage that I've used and how I've mixed it in. You can see the poly fiber that I've used in a few different locations here to kind of fill in the bush area. And you can see the different blends of turf that I've used. That white was a failed attempt at using fake snow from a spray can. I suggest it never use that, ever. Alright, now that we kind of see what we're going to be somewhat achieving for, this one's a little dirtied up because it's been used for wargaming, so things have been knocked around. We will use this product on the small white piece of polyurethane and show you how to get this done. So what I did is I just finished taking my spray bottle of water with 1 drop of dish soap, and I put it across here on this small board, sprayed it. So in that way, what it's going to do is it's going to help the water go, and when I put the paint on in a few moments, the paint is going to go across a lot better and cover the whole surface with less paint. So I just sprayed some of my, just finished pouring some of my paint on there. What this is going to do is it's going to help give a undercoating to the earth. So when you look over at this base and you see some of that brown underneath there that looks like the dirt, that's actually this spread out and the undercoating, which helps keep the bottom layer or two of the flock locked down for the meantime until it's got PBA, which is in the other squirt bottle, covered to lock it. So what I've basically done here, sorry, my cigarette smoke is still wafting around here horribly, is I just quickly spread that across with a little bit of brush to get a bit of an undertone before I lay down my first 2 bases, which I'm just going to sprinkle in random patterns. So the first one I'm going to use is my fine turf yellow grass. So what I want to do is just kind of lightly sprinkle it in a few areas here, just to kind of give it an undery look. And then I'm going to want to grab my burnt turf, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of go around the areas and a little over blending where there's still paint. And what this is going to end up doing is giving a deeper layer to your grass and making it look thicker and fuller. I know some people use stuff underneath their projects to kind of collect their turf, and I've done it off and on, and it actually gives a pretty nice look for when you're trying to find a unique blend of grass. I've had a few different mixtures and they work fine. So I'm going to go and grab my last one and lay down the third base and then touch up around where I think it needs to look more realistic. So I'm taking my fine turf earth. I'm actually going to fully sprinkle it lightly over the whole area. I don't want to go heavy where I've got the shading, but I want it to look more patchy. So what I want to do is I want to get in there. And this is how this was pretty much looking when I first started. I'll just stop for a second. And it ended up coming out like this near the end with a little less patches of yellow, and that's because I lost turf. And I will be editing the other video to show you what not to do as I'm doing these stages, and it'll be edited in. So we're going to keep on going here, more, not too thick. Any areas that thick we'll just touch up. As you see, we're starting to have it come along nicely here. Oops, I'm losing my camera angle. I'm going to have to find a tripod and get a better set up for doing some of these tutorials, because I think they could actually turn out better than they will be. Alright, there we go. And I'm going to actually just do a little touch up and then come back on to see where I need it. So I touched up a bit of the yellow, and now I'm going to add in some of the fine green, or green grass fine turf, which is what I added to kind of accent the whole rest of it as an overbase. So we're going to bring our green grass in and make it a less dead than we currently have it looking, but showing that we're changing the seasons. We don't want to really go too much over where we've added the blend. Yellows to touch up the blend. We're just kind of trying to simulate the greenness of our grass. And I'm getting low on this bag, so I won't be needing to go back out to the hobby shop and grab more. Okay, there we go. So now I'm going to drop that down. Where I messed up last time is I did not lock down my grass, my turf. So we're going to, come on, spray bottle. Is it open or closed? I think I have it on closed. Maybe I need to add some more water. Alright, I fixed that issue of the squirt ball. So now we're going to want to just lock in our glue here, or turf here. So I gave it a fine mist. So what I'm going to do now, that I've got that going down, is I'm going to take some just regular PVA glue, and we're going to kind of just give it a little bit of, should have let that settle a little bit, but we'll be okay. Give it about an hour to set, because bushes don't always go straight, and often we're going to just do a big clump right here. I'm only going to go with the two colors right now, just because I don't have lots of clump foliage left. So I'm going to mix up some of these colors here. Try to split up the look, make it a little more. So don't worry about pushing it down and having any glue being shown. That will end up dry and clear. So I'm going to add some foliage right here and some more right here, and I want to try to get some of this mixing in with the other so it looks a little more blend it. That's usually where I've taken the screen poly fiber on my boards and kind of stretched it over and made it look like it's blended in. I'm going to just go with a regular in this corner bunch of there, and I think I'm just going to do a regular. Alright, so this is pretty much, we've got our foliage down. I'm going to give it a walk over with my PVA glue. As I was saying in my first attempt, what the glue is going to do is it's going to sink through the turf, which is basically sawdust, and bind it to the board. So the more we have of the PVA, the stronger it's going to be, and the less you're going to be losing pieces off your board. I'm also going to just now take my fine burnt and kind of give it a little bit of a sprinkle, kind of give it a little more dimension, and also with my yellow. So kind of, especially for areas in here where it's a little more blending in because of the view. Seeing it in person, you're not really noticing the blend as much as you are on the camera. Alright, so there goes a little more added depth. And people are probably saying, oh, overkill, overkill. Well, I'm still learning this stuff, but I've got the basics down enough. So if you look here, I'm kind of not going much too different. So now what I'm going to basically do is lay down the area for my road. So I want to get it, I'll actually go with my soap water and let it have an area for the ballast to get some bonding grip to. So I'm going to just do a basic road here, nothing fancy at all. I'm going to take my Woodland Scenics ballast, fine iron ore, and we're just going to, right where I sprinkled the water, shot the water, give it a road. So try to make it not look perfect, you know, kind of try to make it look a little worn. I personally like to take a toothpick and kind of scar up, not too much like that, but scar up it a little bit, make it look a little worn. And when I have the other product, I use a lighter grain of sand. So now what I'm going to do, come on, I'm going to walk this down, let this soak into the board. And pretty much this is the basics. You would go around, paint the sides with the brown. I'm being lazy. Oops, my lighter. And I'm being lazy and I'm just doing a quick basics. But yeah, this is pretty much your laying flock and getting a small little piece done, half-assed.